So hello everyone, welcome to recitation 5, and I hope everything's going smooth and good so far. Um, just a recap about our last recitation, what we studied, and by the way, we are entering the section 2 or the part 2 of our CS170 class, in which we are going to now study the other topics other than the topics which we studied in the past recitations. We are going to uh, study the basics of web programming or the computer science basic applications, like what is flowcharts, what is pseudocode, algorithms, and all the stuff. And coming up from next week onwards, I think we are going to jump directly on JavaScript and learn its application and all the stuff. So for this recitation, week 5, we are going to learn flowcharts and pseudocodes. Here is the syllabus in case you just want to keep a track. If you go on the home page over here, schedule, CS170 schedule over here. So there's a big chart over here. So from here, you would be able to see that, like in week 1, we just went on through the introduction and the basics of Rutgers email service and learned about how the course is going to be, right? In the week 2, we studied about the basics of HTML. And in the week 3, we went through the intermediate part of the HTML. And last week, that is the week 4, we studied the advanced HTML part, wherein we just incorporated CSS part also. And I hope like you guys were able to complete all of your assignments on time before the due date. I can see that most of the submissions are done for assignment 2 and 3. And just a quick note over here, I have not released the grades for assignment 2 and 3 yet. I'll do that by the end of, I'll try my best to do that by the end of this week. And yeah, other than that, make sure you would be having the assignment number 5 for the topic which we are going to cover in this recitation. And that would be based on flowcharts and pseudocode over here. See, you can see that from next week onwards, that is the week of 9th October, we are going to start JavaScript. And after that, we are going to deep dive into JavaScript for maybe like around 2 to 3 weeks. Total 3 weeks we are going to spend on JavaScript. And after that, we're going to learn spreadsheets, the Excel tables, and all the stuff, ending with the basics of databases, the queries, and all the stuff. So I think we are halfway almost, and I think you guys would be having your first midterm exam over here, if I'm not wrong, over here. Yeah, exam 1. It's scheduled on October 11th, Wednesday, from 9:20 p.m. But just confirm the timings and all from your professor. I think this is it, and the exam length is 60 minutes. Obviously, you guys would be getting more details for the exam pattern and everything from your professor. For now, the asynchronous guys, section 13. I hope the assignment thing is going smooth. I can see like a lot of you are emailing me regarding the doubts you are having. Some of them, I believe, use their free lates also for the assignment submission. That's fine. I mean, you are allowed to use your free late just one time during throughout the semester, right? So make sure you use that if there's any kind of emergency and you could not complete the assignment or submit the assignment before the due date, right? And regarding the yeah, the upcoming assignment would be over here. That will just go through after towards the end of the lecture. And yeah, just a side note, I hope like all of you guys are marking your attendance on time. Like I've been posting, and please just check the announcements over here every time. Don't miss any kind of announcements. Uh, um, like usually I say that for recitations 2 and 3, let's say for example, the deadline to mark the attendance is Sundays. And usually I've mentioned that in my announcement that the the deadline to just mark your attendance for every week would be Sunday night. So make sure you just watch. So as this is the asynchronous section, you guys have that kind of flexibility, right? That you can just watch the recorded recitation lecture anytime according to your own convenience. So just do that within that particular week and just mark your attendance. Obviously, that would carry, and you guys are aware that there are extra TA credit points, around 8 points, right? And out of those 8 points, 4 are just for the attendance. So make sure you take this thing seriously and do watch the recitation lectures. And Yeah, I think let's just get started with our recitation 5. The topic for today is, let me just get to the slides over here. Okay. So the topic for today's recitation is flowchart and pseudocode. So let's just understand in a very basic layman term that what is pseudocode, what is flowchart, why do we need it, and what are its application, right? It's always a good practice or way to just understand the applications of what we are learning to better understand and focus that, okay, we are learning so and so things for uh, so and so applications. Then only we would be able to uh, grasp the most out of the concepts or the topics, right? So just in basic layman terms, uh, I believe that like majority of the guys or like most of you would not, or some of them would be uh, coming from the non-CS background, right? Who don't have any kind of prior programming experience, and you would be struggling or trying your best to cope up with this class with the help of uh, different kind of technologies that are coming to your way, right? So I understand that, but in the world of programming, whenever you start learning any kind of new programming language, let's say Python or Java, so there are some certain kind of practices, or we can say that good rules and habits that the programmers usually follow. If there's any kind of problem statement, so we don't usually directly start coding. First, we just understand the problem statement which is given to us, and we just write a flow chart or a pseudo code to just get the uh, flavor of the problem statement, I can say, or just to know the flow in which I just have to code, right? So in that, you would get the main intention for doing that is to get the clarity of what you want to do, right? Coding is different, but knowing what to code is a different thing, right? Getting it? So there comes into the picture the role of flowchart and pseudocode. So basically, like as I mentioned, that pre-code planning is something very important when you are working on any kind of programs, algorithms, which helps the programmer to just plan how to write the codes. Programming language is just the tool that the programmers are using, right? But what to code and how to code is just a part of the knowledge which is required for you to understand the programming language. But what to code is something which will help you with the help of pseudocodes and the flowcharts. We'll just take a lot of examples in the recitation so that you guys would be able to know that what is flowcharts and pseudocode. So for example, before getting into the building blocks over here, let's just get the basic definition of flowchart. So flowchart is a type of diagrammatic representation using different kind of shapes and flow lines, which you can see in the figure, which is in table, which is in front of you. Uh, it's just used to illustrate a computer program, whatever kind of program or logic we uh, aim to develop. It's just used for the demonstration purpose of for that. And the process symbol used in a flowchart includes different kind of shapes, which you can see, right? Oval shape, square, rectangular, or the arrow line, everything else, right? And we can like it has other names such as process map and process flow diagram, but need not worry about that for now. Let's just focus that there are different kind of ways we can call it a flowchart, but to make things easier for now, just remember that let's just keep it flowchart diagrams. And regarding the pseudocode, it's just a false code used to describe how a computer program or an algorithm works. So the pseudocode is not the actual code, but it just uses annotations or the text basically written in a very simple language, English, right? Which is very much everyone can understand the content which is written in the pseudocode. It's written in a very basic layman language. It's just meant for the humans to read it and understand it well, and then just put all of the things which we have written in the pseudocode in the form of the code which the computer understands, right? So this is just the basic usage and the need for flowcharts and pseudocode. Now, what is the difference between flowchart and pseudocode? Why do we need both of them? So flowchart, as we mentioned, that it's just the diagrammatical representation, right? Which includes all of the shapes, right? So if anyone comes from a non-programming background and don't have any kind of idea regarding the programming logic and all of the stuff, then anyone can easily understand what's going on or what's the flow or the logic from the flow charts. You need not have to have any kind of background. And for the pseudocode, it's basically the content and not the diagrammatical representation. Basically, it's kind of little technical, but obviously, again, anyone can understand the pseudocode also. It's just written in a plain content language, and the flowcharts are just the diagram. So both of them have their own usages. We'll just go through them and we will perform the live demonstration of how to create the flowcharts also. So in our first slide, as you can see on your screen, it's just the building blocks. The building blocks of the flowcharts are different kind of symbols and shapes, which you can see on your screen, right? So for example, this symbol, the name of the symbol is start or end, and the function, what is it, what is its functionality? So it says an oval represents a start or end point. Okay, next is an arrow. So it's a line. A line is a connector that shows relationships between the representative shapes. So it's just used to just connect different kind of shapes and to showcase its relationship, right? After that, this symbol. So it's the symbol for input and output, which is a parallelogram. It's just used to take the input or just show the output. And this rectangular shape, which you can see, that represents a process. And the decision, which is just kind of a shape of a diamond or the kite, it indicates a decision. It's kind of a condition, or you are taking the decision over here. And the last, the small circular shape, which you can see, is a connector, which is used to connect other symbols such as arrows and all of the stuff. So from now, don't worry, just get the basic information from here that this symbol is used for such so and so process, so and so function, but we'll deep dive and take each and every symbol to just create our flowcharts from scratch. So over here, I want you all to just pause this video and go to this link and work simultaneously with me so that you would be able to get the hands-on experience of creating the flowchart with me. And in case if you are stuck somewhere, then you would be able to get by just watching this video simultaneously. So I hope like you guys also are joining with me. And if not, that if you face any kind of issues, obviously we can connect during my office hours or the lab support hours. So over here, just want you to go to this link over here. It says, okay, and over here, let's say, for example, and can just choose anything. I'll just select to save diagrams to my own device. And over here, you would be see an option that create new diagram, open an existing diagram. I would select on create new diagram over here, right? And over here, I can give a name over here, file name, right? In the slides, it says enter a file name on the file name box, preserving the .xml extension. So by now, I believe that you guys are aware of what are extensions, right? We worked on our HTML files. So the extension for HTML files is, I think most of you guys got it. It's .html, right? Extension for our JavaScript or CSS files is .css or .js. Extension for a PDF file is .pdf. So this is just the extension. Don't worry about it. But the by default, just keep it by default. The extension is XML file. I'll just rename this file as, for example, let's say rec5 underscore demo.draw. Perfect. And I'll just select on this blank diagram and click on create. That's it. Easy. Over here, okay, one more time, rec5 underscore demo. And here it asks where you want to save this. For example, let me just save it on my desktop over here. And I'll just save it. Let me just, okay. So now, before we start creating our flowchart over here, there's an option to just select the background. It's dark, it's light. I'll just go and select light so it's easily visible to you guys over here. Now, what it says, location on the flowchart symbols, general category on the left side. Okay, the arrows are available on the top section, all this stuff. Okay, this is just the basic information of how the UI looks and where are the different kind of options over here, right? So for example, over here, so this is how the basic UI of this app.diagrams.net website looks like. Here you would be able to see the different kind of options for the shapes. It says general. These are the general shapes which you are using. Over here, if you click on advanced, so there are different kind of more shapes. These are more shapes in the basic category, right? So you can just go on and explore. You can find different kind of arrows over here, different kind of shapes, and the flow chart over here, the symbol. And this is the latter part, which is just used to just for our entity relationships diagrams in SQL. But for now, just ignore that. And I think most of our part would be the shapes. You would be able to easily get it from here in our general category, right? So here, first things first, before we start, save the file. Okay, yeah, we did everything else. We just created a new diagram. We just saved the file. I just saved my file on my desktop. And here, what is a pseudocode? We also go through the definition of what is a pseudocode. It says pseudocode is an algorithm that may be derived from a flowchart. So for example, suppose there is a task for you guys that you just have to make a tea or a coffee, for example. And let's say suppose anyone is very naive or don't know how to make tea or coffee. It's fine, okay, right? Obviously, and it's the first time you're asked to make a tea or coffee and you don't have any kind of idea. So what you will do first? Some of them might think that I'll just quickly watch a YouTube video. Some of them would say, I'll just ask my grandfather or grandmom, right? Some of them would say, oh, I'll just tell my brother to prepare it for me, or I'll just ask my friends, right? So obviously you will take different kind of references from different kind of sources, right? You won't directly go into the kitchen and just keep your vessel and just put water or milk. Obviously, that's the basic. And see, you guys obviously will know that some of the partial stuff or the ingredients which are used to create tea or prepare tea or coffee, you guys know, but you guys don't know the entire end-to-end process. For example, this is a very layman example. Obviously, most of you guys would be knowing to make a tea or a coffee, but just consider the example for now. Understand what's the meaning of or the use or the need for pseudocodes and flowcharts. So obviously you might some of them would partially know the ingredients which are used. So obviously for that purpose, you won't go into the kitchen and just pour some milk or anything, any one of the ingredients which you know. But first, rather, you would understand the whole process, or what are the different list of the ingredients which I need to prepare this particular item or to just complete this task, right? You gathering of the different kind of ingredients. Secondly, you would know the process, like the sequence, right? First you just need a vessel. You just need to put some milk or water. You just boil it. You would need a coffee or a tea, anything, right? You'll just open the flame and etc. So after getting the assurity or knowing or getting some kind of clarity that how you would complete the whole task or the process of preparing that particular meal which is asked to you, then only you would actually start performing the cooking and take it into an action, right? So this is my point, that for example, you are given any kind of programming task or the logic, or you are asked to code anything. For example, you have to code a program in which you are asked to add two numbers. You have to just take two numbers as an input from the user, and the program should just automatically sum up the two numbers. But now, if you don't have any kind of programming background, then what would be easier for you? You would directly jump it into the editor and start coding, or you would start with a flowchart and just come up with a layman diagrammatical logic that, okay, I'll just take an input, I'll just tell the user enter number 1, number 2, just add some of the numbers, right? So in that way, you would get an idea of how the logic would be, and that will obviously help you while directly working on your code. So this is the basic usage of a pseudocode or a flowchart. You can see the pseudocode will become a computer program by using the appropriate syntax of a programming language. So pseudocode is much like a program only, but obviously it's in a more human understandable format, which is not very much syntactical friendly, right? For us to just directly convert our pseudocode into the programming language code, we just have to change a few things like the computer syntax, programming language syntax, and all those stuff, right? So it's not a much big deal, but I hope you guys understood the purpose of pseudocode and the flowchart, right? So over here, let's just take an example so you guys would be able to understand it in a very good manner, right? So here the example says a company needs to calculate the taxes that it needs to pay for its last year earnings. The earnings are the difference between the revenues and the expenses. And the tax rate is 20% if the earnings are less than $500,000, right? Otherwise, the tax rate is 30%. So here, what they're trying to say is that there's a company and it just needs to calculate the taxes for it, right? And just needs to pay for its last year earnings. And there's a condition over here. What is the condition? That if, and it says the tax rate is 20%, and the condition says that if the earnings are less than $500,000, right, the tax rate is 20%. Otherwise, if it's not less than $500,000, the tax rate should be 30%, right? So this is just the problem statement which is given to us, and we just have to implement the flowchart for this, right? So how to just get started with this? So over here, this is the basic pseudocode of this thing, right? For example, insert a start symbol on top. Okay, we saw the different kind of symbols over here, the shapes over here, right? So this is the start symbol. Obviously, for us to begin with, obviously we will just start with the start symbol. So it says insert the start symbol. Let us just see the flowchart first for this thing, and we'll just come to the pseudocode afterwards, because we can easily create the pseudocode with the help of the flowchart. The flowchart is the first step. So over here, for our problem statement, or for this one, the company revenue tax calculation problem statement, over here, if we just see the flowchart, so it says start, which is the first symbol. After that, there comes revenue, right? Now, what is the revenue? Anyone? What that particular shape means, or what is the function of the revenue? That parallelogram, you can just refer it. Obviously, it's just the input or the output, right? The name of this parallelogram inside which revenues is written. The usage of is to just take the input. So we are starting it. We are saying that this arrow defines, it just connects the two different shapes, right? And it just provides a relationship. So we are saying that let's just start the program and take the input from the user as the revenues. We are saying that take the input again as the expenses. And then we say that calculate earnings. Now, what is calculate earnings doing? It's inside a rectangular symbol, right? So what symbol is it? It's the process, right? So it's just taking up the values from the input, and it's just doing the process while calculating the earnings, right? And over here, after that calculation is done, what we are asked to do, again, just come to the problem statement here. It says that earnings are the difference between the revenues and the expenses, right? So this is the process which it is doing inside that rectangular symbol, right? It is just making the difference between the revenues and the expenses which we took from the user over here in this two parallelogram symbols, the revenues and the expenses. And after that, taking the input, we are doing the process of just taking the difference between the two inputs. And then it says that tax rate should be 20% if and only if the earnings are less than $500,000. So what is this, guys? This is a condition, right? In the world of programming, we often come to different kind of conditions wherein, for example, let's say if you are asked to just create a program in which you want to take an input from the user, and you want to just tell the user that whether that the number which you have taken as the input is a even number or an odd number. Yes. So for that, what would be the logic for that? For example, just pause this video and think. If you are asked to just take the number input number, and you are asked to just give the output that whether that particular number is an even or odd. So for that also, a particular condition is required, right? I want you guys to think about it and just try it in your end for your own practice and create the flow chart for that particular problem statement of even and odd number, right? So over here, let's just come to our current problem statement. It says the tax rate should be 20% if the earnings are less than $500,000. So if you remember from our building blocks table tabular diagram, so there's a particular symbol associated for the condition or the decision, which is the diamond symbol over here, which you can see over here, right? So in the diamond symbol, we will write our decision or the condition which we want to take. And it says if earnings are less than $500,000, right? So if there's any kind of conditional statement, we'll just write in our diamond symbol. So there would be two outcomes, right? Yes or no. If it's not less than $500,000, then the tax earnings should be over here. The tax rate should be, we should consider it as 30%. So this is the process again which we are doing, right? It's doing some kind of calculation and updating the taxes, right? So it says taxes is equals to earnings into 30%. And if the condition to this particular statement is yes, earnings less than $500,000, yes. So if it's less than $500,000, we say taxes is equals to earnings into 20%. But if it's more than that, this particular amount, then we say taxes is equals to earnings into 30%. So this is how we just create a basic flowchart diagram with the help of the different kind of symbols which are used to create the flowchart, and we just use the arrows to just link the different kind of symbols over here. But what after that? We are done with the conditions, but now, for example, we did the processes of based on the conditional, right? But it says calculate taxes, it needs to pay it for last year earnings, right? So at the end, we have to display what the current result is, right? After doing the processes. So we just say display taxes, and this particular parallelogram, again, it's used not for only input, it's used for output also, right? Over here, we use this parallelogram symbol to take the input, but now we also want to show the output. Otherwise, what is the use of the flowchart, right? Our program, any kind of program, should have particular output so that the end user can obviously see it and get some kind of results from it. Otherwise, what's the use of it? So in the output, we will just display the taxes over here by using the same parallelogram symbol. And at the end, obviously, we would stop. We would want our program or the flowcharts to stop, just as how we started the flowchart, right? So we'll just use this oval symbol to stop the program. And over here, notice this small circular shape which we are using, right? What is that? Just pause the video, or I'll just go to our slides over here. This small symbol, I hope good if anyone of you guessed it, right? This small symbol is the connector, right? We use the connector to just connect the symbols such as the arrows. Over here, we cannot simply just directly put this arrow over here, two arrows in one particular symbol, right? For such cases, we would use a connector that would just simply connect two different kind of arrows coming from two different symbols, and we'll just use that connector, which will again send a different arrow to a different symbol or the coming symbol, right, which comes after that. So this is the basic representation of the flowchart which we just saw. And over here, there are different kind of important notes, 3 points. First, all shapes have exactly one arrow going into the shape except the start, right? Makes sense? Each and every shape which you see, from that shape or the symbol, only one arrow is going, right? And over here, start, obviously, as this is our first symbol, so no other arrow will come to the start symbol, whereas the arrow will start only from the start symbol, right? So that makes sense. The second point is all shapes have exactly one arrow going out of the shape. Okay, right? Makes sense. Again, it says that all shapes have exactly one arrow going out of the shape, and all shapes have exactly one arrow going into the shape. So that is very much logical, as you guys can see in the representation. And third point, if diamond has exactly two arrows going out, always labeled yes or no or true or false. So over here, we always have to label it the different kind of probabilities or the outcomes wherever we are using the decision or the conditional diamond symbol, right? Over here, there are two outcomes, yes or no, false or true. Yes, so it's necessary to label it, otherwise how we will able to attach our process for that particular condition, right? Suppose, let's say if I don't write no or yes over here, how the programmer will know that this is the condition for no, so I have to update the taxes of to earnings into 30%, right? So this is very much essential to just label it whenever you are using the diamond data. Next, pseudocode for text calculation example. So this is the pseudocode, and this thing is just the statements which we just created before writing a flowchart whenever we just encountered the problem statement, right? So here, if you see, the pseudocode is little bit technical, which would be little bit more similar to your actual programming code. It says start, stop. So all these things would be same, the start and stop, all the content which we have written in the symbols of the flowchart would be similar, but the way of writing the pseudocode is a little different. Let's just look at the way. So it says start and says read revenues, read expenses. Over here, we are just taking the input. So read means basically to take the input, right? The input which we got from the users, we just have to read it, right? So read revenues, read expenses. Now it says compute earnings as revenues minus expenses. So if you guys remember, here we are doing the process in this thing, calculate earnings. What exactly we are doing is we are taking the differences between the revenues and the expenses, and that whole is a process, right? So process means just over here in the pseudocode language, you would write it as compute, because it will compute the actual value of earnings by taking the differences between the revenues and the expenses, right? So it says compute earnings as, this as is very important because what we want inside our earnings thing, right? And after that, once we get the value of earnings by taking out the differences between the revenues and the expense, now we just directly go to our condition over here, which says earnings less than $500,000. So how would a condition look like in a basic English language? We use the word if, right? So it says if earnings less than $500,000, then else blah blah blah, the computing part, right? So over here, if earnings less than $500,000, then what we need to do, we need to compute and say taxes as earnings into 20%. Or if it's not less than $500,000, we say compute taxes as earnings into 30%, right? And yeah, we are done. I think both of the conditions are done, and at the end what we need to do is display the taxes over here. So and if display taxes, that's it over here, and we just stop the flowchart over here. We'll stop the pseudocode. So this is as simple as that, nothing complicated, no rocket science. So it's very much, it becomes very easy to write the pseudocode once you have the flowchart in front of you, right? And obviously it's very easier to directly draw the flowchart if you have the basic content written in this layman points or the problem statement directly in front of your eyes. So here, let's just see another example of writing the flowchart over here. Example is ordering food. So first things first, start the process of billing. Okay, you guys obviously go to different kind of restaurants or cafes, right? So let's say, for example, take it Qdoba, which is in our Rutgers campus, right? So what you guys do generally after going in there, you just start the process of billing. This is from the towards the employer side, right? So order burgers, pizza as input. You guys would just take these things as the order, so that that particular person will receive an input from the customer for this particular things or the order which you give. And it says the third point, calculate the cost equal to $5 times burgers plus $8 times for pizzas, anything you order. So it will, this is a process of calculating the total cost of the items which you have ordered, right? And after that, there comes a condition that if total cost is greater than $10, and this is a decision, right? So give a free coupon. This is a process. And that's the only condition. After that, it says display the total cost as the output. Obviously, whenever you guys order something, after you are done ordering, you would be able to see the total amount, right? So that's the display to show it to the end user. And that's it, you are done. Simply just end the process. So I think this is an exciting or good or fun example for you guys to work on it. Let's just directly jump into the flow chart. Now, first things first, let's just create the flowchart for this actually, right? So first things first, I'll just grab the symbol, oval symbol over here. So in this, our UI for the draw.io over here, you can simply just drag these options or click on these options over here. It's not that difficult. You can just modify the shape according to your own requirement. And if you want to insert a text in it, so you can just simply double click over here and I'll just say start. Okay, let me just stop the Grammarly. Perfect. I'll just say start. If I want to increase the font size for start, let's say I'll just keep it 14, or let me just keep it 18, right? I hope it's visible to you guys. Okay, so start. After that, what is it? Notice over here, there comes an arrow, right? Over here, there comes an arrow, obviously, and we would use the parallelogram symbol to take the input. What are the inputs? Pizzas and burgers, right? Burgers and pizza, right? So over here, let's just take an input. First, let me just use the arrow over here. You can just find the arrow symbol. It says directional connector, right? I'll just click on it. I'll just basically drag over here and I'll just move this thing to down. Simple. Perfect. So over here, after that, to parallelograms, let me just reduce its size so that we can fit in the whole flow chart. Perfect. This is the parallelogram, right? I want one more. I'll just copy this arrow over here. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, I see. Awesome. So first I'll say burger, and here pizza. Again, the font size is 18. Let's show you 18, right? I ordered a burger and a pizza. Perfect. After that, what is it? Notice from here, it says once you are done ordering or take, that means simply you are taking the input. You have to calculate the cost, right? So there comes the symbol of process over here. So for that, which symbol is used for the process? Rectangular, right? So I'll just use the rectangle symbol over here simply and just use this thing over here, right? Okay, perfect. And make sure you guys are saving all of the things which you are doing over here. It says all changes saved. If you are using a Mac, just press Command S. If you are using your Windows machine, just press Control S, right? So it's very important to just save your work. So here we are using a process, and in that process, you have to calculate the total cost for burgers into 5 and pizzas into 8, because the cost for that particular item is assigned and given to you as 5 and 8, right? So I'll write it as, I'll just increase the width of this. Okay, can just increase the width by this, and I'll write burgers. Oh, total cost equal to burger into, it's 5, right? And plus pizza into 10. Makes sense. Pizzas cost a little more than burgers, right? Oh, pizzas is 8, burgers 5. Okay, cool. No worries. Let's just increase the font size. I want it to be visible to you guys properly, right? So here, let me just attach the arrow, copy, paste. Okay, wait. Let me just take an arrow here only. Perfect. So here, we did the process of calculating the total cost, right? For a burger and pizzas. And now what we are asked to do is in our diagram over here, after calculating the total cost, it says there is a condition, right? If the total cost is greater than $10, this is a decision. So give a free coupon. So we'll just take the diamond symbol to just take the decision over here, right? And it says over here in the flowchart which you guys see, is total cost greater than 10? And there would be two conditions over here, right? So if total, okay, that's fine. It's always a good habit to just not keep any space into your variables which you are using in the world of programming. If total cost greater than 10, yes or no. Let me just increase the size of this diamond to this as 12. And then arrow. I would be requiring more different arrows here. Yes or no. Perfect. So there are two different kind of outcomes which are possible. One says, I just simply want to add a text. How would I do that? There's an option called text in general category, right? I'll just click on that. I'll just, oops. I'll just click on this text. I'll just add it over here and I'll just write yes. I'll just select one more text and I'll write it here as no. Just to look it a little bit aesthetic, I'll just let me just increase the size to 14, maybe. Yeah, perfect. And for this, also 14. So here, we gave a condition, okay, in the text. Okay, we gave a condition. If the total cost is greater than 10, then yes or no. So if it's greater than 10, we have to apply a coupon and give a coupon over here, right? You guys can see, provide free coupon. This is a process. We are using the rectangular symbol. So I'll just quickly grab a rectangular symbol. Oops, this is messing up the things. Okay. Over here, I'll say provide free coupon. As 18. Perfect. Everyone with me till now? I hope you guys are working simultaneously with me. So you guys would be able to get things in a good manner if you are just working hands-on. Otherwise, those who are just watching the video, I hope you guys will work on the examples and it would help you to just work for the assignment which is provided to you. So it says over here, if you just see that if total cost is greater than 10, you take the decision and give a free coupon and you just at the end display the total cost. So what's the error over here? It says after giving the free coupon, you want to just display the cost, right? So after going here, there should be some kind of arrow over here, right? So we will redirect this thing to this particular arrow. I'll just write a simple line over here. Perfect. And I'll just use an arrow. Perfect. And an arrow. Over here. Perfect. And it says display the total cost, which is again a parallelogram, which means the output, right? Let me just copy this whole thing over here and just paste. Oops. This paste thing over here, and it says display total cost. Display total cost. Perfect. And in the end, obviously, we would just stop our flow chart. One more arrow over here. And I'll just copy this start symbol. And here I'll write stop. Yo, I think we are done. Let me just extend this line a little bit. Okay, perfect. So here you can see almost we are done with our flow chart for this particular example of ordering the food. Let's just quickly go through what we did over here. We say we just start the flow chart. We just take two different kind of inputs as a burger or the pizzas, the items which the customer is ordering. And there's a process in this rectangular symbol which says calculate the total cost for the burger and pizzas. $5 for a burger, $8 for a pizza. And after that, there comes a condition. It says if the total cost is greater than $10, we give a free or we just provide a free coupon. So if the condition says yes, then we provide a free coupon. If no, then directly display the total cost. After here, once we are providing the free coupon, we just want to again display the total cost, right? Which will just apply that particular free coupon. And after that, we are just providing the stop symbol over here, and we are done with our flowchart. And now, if you want to save this flowchart in your own device, you will click on File, you will click on Save, and obviously it's stored in my desktop over here. Let me just quickly show and grab. This is the rec5 underscore demo.draw file, right? If you want to save it in a image format over here, let's say I'll click on File, Save As, and you can store it in a PNG format over here. Let me just click on PNG and write rec5 underscore demo underscore PNG format, just to give it a proper good naming convention. I can see that I just got the PNG version, which you can just use it anywhere. So if I just open up, so it comes like this. So I don't know why it came in a black and white, but I think I can just edit, or maybe it's in dark mode. My default settings of the computer is in dark mode, but obviously you guys can just download it in a PNG format, right? So just do that thing, and I hope you guys got this example. This is the pseudocode. Obviously, now once you are done, or once you created this whole flowchart, the pseudocode is very much easy referring to the flowchart. Just quickly, it's it will just take few seconds for you guys to just understand or write the pseudocode. First things first, start. You are going to read the two inputs, which is number of burgers or the number of pizzas. And after that, there's a process. You just have to calculate the total cost. So we write compute total cost as burgers into 5 plus pizzas into 8. Suppose you are ordering a soda and the cost for it is $1. So I would write plus soda into 1, right? Anything. So, and there's a condition. If total cost is greater than $10, then provide free coupon. And if there's no else condition, right? So if it's greater than $10, provide free coupon. Or if it's less than $10, then just minus the taxes, right? I believe that all of the Rutgers students are eligible, and we can just ask to just cut off the taxes. I've done that in Qdoba, so this is a good tip. So we just write the condition, and at the end we just display the total cost, and we just stop. So this is the pseudocode. And now for this particular problem statement, we already did two particular problem statements, and I think it's a good start for you guys to work on your own flowcharts and pseudocode. So I want you guys to just try this problem statement, which says calculating a store discount. I'll just quickly go through the problem statement, but I want you guys to just create the flowchart and the pseudocode. But don't cheat. I will obviously upload this presentation, but for your own benefit, just try it without looking the result or the answer, and just try to create the flowchart in draw.io, or maybe just with a pen and paper in your book or somewhere else, right? And after that, once you're done with creating the flowchart, just create the pseudocode directly. So the problem statement says a store offers a discount for their silver and gold members. Those with a gold card obtain a discount of 20%, while silver card holders get a 10% discount. And further, it says no discount is offered to those who are not card holders, right? So it's not that difficult. There are different kind of conditions over here. You just have to take the input from the same thing which we learned, right, in our previous examples. You just make sure you are using the proper symbol, right? You would use the oval symbol for starting or stopping the flowchart. You would use the parallelogram symbol to just take the input or showcasing the output, right? You would use the rectangular symbol for the process or to compute any kind of, perform any kind of calculations, right? The diamond symbol for the conditions, right? So it will take a little time. Obviously, you can take the reference from here, and also I would be attaching a reference sheet over here. For example, just give me a moment. Okay, yeah. So this is the reference sheet, pseudocode reference sheet, or the guide, which I would be attaching into our resources folder for you guys just to refer it. It has the basic syntax and the information, right? So I think it would help you guys. And obviously, you can just refer to our wonderful slides, and you guys are good to go to just jump in directly to create the flowcharts and pseudocode. And at last, thank you for cooperating, and thank you to those who performed this on like simultaneously with me on this Dora platform, right? So I think we are done with our syllabus for this particular recitation. Make sure you work on the extra problem which I gave to you, and you guys would be having an assignment due. Let's just take the due date. It says assignment number 5. It's on flowcharts pseudocode. So it says that, okay, it would be available October 2. Okay. So the due date for this is Friday, October 13th. So in the resources, I will obviously upload this reference guide, and on my slides, you have this website, draw.io. And obviously, if you have any kind of, if you need any kind of help, you can connect to my TA of Wizards or lab support hours. And yeah, this is the assignment. All the things which we did in our recitation or in this particular video lecture, and the things which are covered by your professor is very much sufficient, and it's enough for you guys to just work on this assignment, like always, like how we are doing in past weeks, right? So make sure you do this assignment, and I'll see you guys next week asynchronously for week 6, wherein we are going to start with our JavaScript series for consecutive 3 weeks. So that would be fun for sure. And I'll just upload the I'll just release the grades for assignment 2-3 weeks in a week or so. And one more important thing regarding the attendance for this recitation lecture, which I forgot to mention my secret code in middle of the lecture, but I'll just do it now. So the secret code for recitation 5 is 404. I repeat, it is 404. You guys can see over here. Yes. By the way, it's an error, 404 errors, right? Just if you are free, just look up to this. It will help you. So make sure you mark your attendance immediately once you are done watching this recitation recording. And thank you. See you guys next week.